What's up, Digidestins? This is Coyote, better known as RideMyAvatar, and we're going to look at the Digimon case tournament from the online PPG event. So there's one more on the 30th. They did have two, which is kind of awesome because, again, for a lot of players, they want to have as much events as possible. So it's kind of cool to see that. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So congratulations to the top 8. We had 2 Bloom Lord, 1 Ragnar Lord, 1 Purple Imperial Dramon, 1 Purple Hybrid, 1 Crossheart, 1 Royal Knights, and 1 Gallantmon. So we'll take a look at all these awesome lists. And again, Ragnar Lord kind of coming in is kind of interesting. So let's see what we kind of got going here. So taking a look here, this is the Gallantmon list. If this thing would load. So return, let's take a look at this full list here. I do like it when they use Digimon this site because it gives us good info. You know, I like the small Solarmon tech. It helps so players can't reduce play costs. It's a very unique tech. You know, you have Guilmon, Guilmon X, and Growlmons to go with it. You know, Growlmon X. You do have War Growlmon. Being able to warp into your Gallantmons is kind of cool. Just being able to get those pieces live, especially this one, being able to give itself blocker, that extra 3000 DP makes it so it's harder for your opponent to remove. This has been commonplace. You see the Takata with the raid, because allowing yourself to raid into threats makes it so your opponent can't just hide behind protective skills. You can easily climb over stuff. And I really like where it's kind of going with this. Now, again, let's load up the Bloom Lord list. Not a lot of players are on Bloom Lord, but it's kind of cool to see. Now they're starting to hybrid the Leopardmon X with the Medieval Gallants, and with Graham Galemon, you're able to swing in for a bunch of security, especially because in this format, we don't have a lot of option removal, right? A lot of it comes down to aces that you'd be dealing with, so Leopardmon X helps deal with them because they can bounce by DP threshold, so you can get the threat off the board before it's even a threat. And having the tech of the one-of Chimera, just because all your champions now can become another Bloom Lord at the end, you know, being able to get in another attack is always scary, right? So this is stuff that leads into a very powerful deck, and I think Bloom Lord coming back in slowly and slowly is just funny to see, you know. Now we do have Royal Knights. This deck is kind of all over the place, right? There's not a wrong way of building it, and there's no like cookie cutter way of building the deck either. You know, there's plenty of people are teching in like Fire Rocket here for, you know, choose one of your Digimon with 2 or more colors, gain a security attack 1. This is kind of cute. You know, being able to, if you have a sticky Omnimon X antibody, being able to swing in for 2 checks is always scary. I mean, Fire Rocket's cool because, especially because it's one of your 2 or more colors, you have so many of those in the deck. As long as they're able to stick the turn or just have rush in any capacity, you're killing your opponent very comfortably because those 2 checks are clearing house. Now, we did get a Shoutmon list, which I definitely think Shoutmon's going to come in more and more. I feel like a lot of players in JP especially wrote off this deck because of one reason and one reason only, was that a higher amount of Talmon Loop decks existed during that time frame, and it made it very difficult for players to kind of play the deck because Tal Loop was just ruin moding their board after board after board after board, and that led into this problem where this deck could not shine easily. But in larger scale events, if not a lot of Talmon players exist, you're in a good spot actually. This deck can definitely steamroll and just apply the pressure that it needs to just to win you the game, and that's really important. And I really do think that like Shoutmon time EX6, just being able to alliance and apply pressure with the combination of Shooting Starmon, giving that extra attack boost, you know, boom, you're checking for 2 checks with Shoutmon EX6, you know, have a plethora of skills, and it just all leads up. And, you know, the Superior Memory Boost allows you to grab basically everything in your deck because you are yellow or black in the combination, which is a really powerful thing for a deck like this, because with all these now dual colors in the deck, you actually have a plenty of viable targets to hit. And that was one of the biggest issues, was sometimes with cross art, you just didn't have a way of searching the right piece enough. You relied on Shoutmon, but again, you had ×4 at 1, and then you used ×3 to kind of just do this, but you needed ways of extending the turn too if you didn't have a mem setter, right? Now, we do have Purple Hybrid, which, rest in peace, boys. You only get a few more weeks to enjoy this deck. So just keep that in mind. You have like Duskmon, the Vulgarmon. This is a very stock list, what you kind of see in major events. Even in Worlds, this was like one of the decks that topped. You know, the Jack Raids are now hit. The Matt Ishidas are now hit. You know, this deck went from having probably the most one hits in its existence right now to be even playable in its playability. And it's kind of funny, right? Just taking a look though, the Vulgarmon, Duskmon is always solid. Now, taking a look at Green Imperialdramon, let's see if they're playing the restricted card, boys and girls. Are we? Are we playing it? Yes, they are. They're playing it at a full play set. So, again, restricting this card because the draw is not once per turn, and this thing, you can do a lot of swings with this deck, and it's not even funny. You can get at least 1, 2, 3, roughly 3, 4 swings in one turn, and with that, it's not once per turn, and that's the problem. You're just drawing so many cards to hopefully filter through. And Jade Memory Boost has definitely came in clutch for this deck, but I think the fact that they hit this was a soft hit to the deck. A lot of people would have said Stingmon x Vmon would be the better pick, but draw tempo, they want you to take down consistency, right? Because again, one Stingmon could just lead you into drawing the other pieces. So they definitely brought it down so you didn't have a way of consistently getting there. So that's something to think about. Excuse me. Now here's another Bloomlord list. Let's see how they built it. So taking a look at Bloomlord again, you know, Medieval Gallants are in the list at 2, but they are playing Trubimon Ace, which has been a back and forth between Leopardmon and Bloomlord combo. It's either play Trubimon Ace if you have it. I think it just becomes budget at that point. Are you playing the Green Ranger style, or are you playing the Trubimon Ace style? And there's nothing wrong with playing either or. They're great decks across the board, and there's always great value to have, right? You know, Quartzmon, the Paladin mode Ace, all add up into your opponent's have to deal with situations. Again, with hidden potential, this thing becomes a 1-cost evolve just by being in the deck. And it's kind of funny, right? You'll be able to swing in with Bloomlord, clear out, and then if your opponent just has anything left on board and you have something left to suspend, you use hidden potential, you know, Paladin mode, ace it, and then just clear the board and just keep swinging for the rest of it. It's kind of fun. I think at the end of the day, you have a lot of options with Bloomlord, and it's going to be great. Now, again, who signed up for Ragna Lordmon here? This is something unique. I was not expecting to hear Ragna tops. This is why we should have talked about this, but one Dinomon is really interesting. It fits the flow, right? I mean, you can get into a Ragna Lord this way, and it's not a bad way of getting into Ragna Lord, I think. Just because Dinomon, just after they clear it first time, you know, it comes back and kills something, and then you can just go with, you know, Ragna Lordmon on the top here. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised this deck actually worked, and it wasn't like regular OTK Ragna, right? It's the Ragna Lord Ace variant, which is quite interesting to me. Again, Blast Evolve, just being able to read, reboot, and be able to de-digivolve is all unique stuff. So at the end of the day, it has a lot of potential, and I don't know where we're going to be going with this. I think this was a fluke at some point, but great player definitely did well. I don't know how many players were in the event, so I can't justify if this was like a 64-person event. You instantly have different data to use. If it was not, you kind of just have a smaller local size. If it was like 32, then you can understand some of the weird decks that kind of topped. But Bloomlord's been doing well in JP. The Ragna has never shown up. This is the first time I've seen a Ragna Lord, but Hugh, good job. I'm shocked to see you up on the top, though. Definitely want to hear your matchups if you see the video. I mean, Royal Knights, kind of commonplace. Galamon's just commonplace. Purple Hybrid's always seen. Blue, Green, Imperial Dramon. Really surprised not to see Red, Purple Imperial Dramon. I don't understand why we're not seeing that huge conversion that everybody was afraid of. Even Royal Knights isn't showing that huge conversion either. And that's just surprising to me. But all in all, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.